Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So Samsung just launched a slew of new products in Paris today. I am not in Paris right now, I am in Hong Kong. But this morning I did get my hands on most of the new products in a Samsung Hong Kong product briefing. I tried almost everything except for the Galaxy Ring because I don't think that is selling in Hong Kong. But for this video, I will focus mostly on the two new foldables because I'm ultimately a phone guy. So let's start with the big guy, the Galaxy Z Fold 6. So Z Fold 6 got subtle improvements in several areas regarding its outer body. These improvements, if you look at them one by one, they're quite small, but when you add them together, they do add up to more than the sum of their parts and make the Z Fold 6 quite a noticeable upgrade over previous Samsung foldable phones. So the Fold 6 is both lighter and thinner than the Fold 5 despite not losing any components that was available in the Fold 5. Now, it's only 14 grams lighter than the Fold 5. It's noticeable, but not that big. But if you're jumping over from the Fold 4, then the difference is huge because there's a 24 grams difference between the Fold 4 and the Fold 6. The thinner profile is also much welcome. You also notice that the Fold 6, when it's folded, the left bezel is much thinner than before. In previous Samsung Folds, the left bezel is chunky compared to the other three sides. Now the Fold 6 has a much more symmetrical look. The outer screen of the Fold 6 is also a little bit wider, so now the aspect ratio is more in line with a conventional slab phone. You can two-hand type on it a lot easier than the Fold 5 and the Fold 4, which when folded felt like a TV remote or a candy bar. Of course, the Fold 6 got upgraded to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, that's to be expected. Unfortunately, the camera system of the Fold 6 is exactly the same as the Fold 5. Now, the Fold 5's camera system is pretty good, but definitely not as good as the best Chinese foldable cameras out there. Now, moving on to the Flip 6, overall dimensions here are nearly identical to the Flip 5, so the Flip phone did not manage to cut weight or thickness like the Fold 6 did. However, the Flip 6 has a larger battery up to 4000 mAh now, and the main camera is upgraded to a 50 megapixel camera. Before it was a 12 megapixel shooter. So now the Flip 6's main camera is the same camera used in the Galaxy S24 and the Galaxy S24 Plus, and that's a pretty good camera, particularly for a flip phone. Of course, the Flip is also running on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The Flip 6 also has a vapor cooling chamber for the first time in a Samsung Flip phone. So that combined with the more efficient Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 should mean the Flip 6 is going to be a noticeable better performer than the Flip 5 and obviously the Flip 4 before that. So if you look at hardware of the Fold and Flip 6, you can take two different approaches. The first one is if you look at it from the point of view of an average consumer in America or in South Korea. In that case, all the foldables you've known is mostly from Samsung. And if you're jumping over from an older Samsung foldable, then I think the Fold and Flip 6 improved enough that you could be excited, particularly the Fold 6. If you're jumping over from the Fold 4, the Fold 6 is gonna just feel so much nicer in the hand. However, the other perspective is if you're someone like me, who has been keeping up to date with Chinese foldable phones, then you will know that all these improvements that Samsung added to the Fold and Flip 6, it's merely Samsung playing catch up to Chinese foldable phones, because Chinese foldable phones have been thinner, lighter, with better cameras and larger batteries for a few years now. So while the Fold 6 is thinner and lighter than ever for a Samsung foldable, it is still heavier and thicker than a Vivo X Fold 3 Pro. However, Samsung's counting on two areas where its foldables will have more appeal to more people than Chinese foldable phones. The first is a superior software ecosystem. Samsung's foldable software just plays nicer with major American apps like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. That's just the nature of the beast because a lot of these Chinese foldable phones are aimed at the China market where people don't use Instagram or YouTube or Twitter. The second thing that Samsung's counting on is that Samsung apparently has a much chummier relationship with Google than other Chinese foldable phones because the Samsung Fold and Flip 6 introduced some AI features that are really leveraging Google's AI prowess. So in a way, it's really just Google features, but Samsung and Google have an agreement that these features are going to be exclusive to Samsung devices and Google devices for at least half a year or a year. For example, circle to search, which launched with the Galaxy S24 series, that's a very useful feature that I use like 10 times a day. Even now, 6 months later, it's still only exclusive to the Samsung Galaxy phones and the Google Pixel phones. It is not in any Oppo or Xiaomi or Vivo phones, even though they run Android. And circle to search is a Google Android software, but somehow Google and Samsung have agreed to basically gatekeep the feature, keep it exclusive to just their devices. And that's going to be the same thing here. So circle to search is here in the Fold and Flip 6, as well as the live interpretation, live translation between two languages. On the Fold and Flip 6, it supports over a dozen languages, including Cantonese, which is impressive because Cantonese is a very difficult language to speak and understand. And on both the foldable phones, you can have the interpretation app set up so that both screens are in use. Like one screen will show one language, the other screen will show the other language. So you can just put the phone between you and the other person. You guys can speak your respective languages and the translated text will show up on the screen for you to look at. As you can see here, the Flip 6 is able to translate Cantonese to English very fast. And again, Cantonese is very complicated, so this is very impressive. Samsung is also introducing a brand new AI feature for the Fold and Flip 6 that I personally like a lot. It's called Sketch to Image. So basically, you can use your finger or on the Fold 6 and S Pen to draw something, like draw a basic sketch. And then the Samsung phones will use generative AI to convert that sketch into something more realistic looking or more professional looking. So you see right here, I drew glasses and a hat on a picture of myself. And then within 20-30 seconds, the phone was able to generate pretty realistic looking images of me with a hat and glasses. And you have various options to choose from. And if you don't like it, you can also redo the whole generative AI process and get a new batch of results. So this works with any image, whether it's image you took on the phone or something you grabbed off the web, and also works with a blank canvas inside the Samsung Notes app. So here my friend is drawing a sports car, and then you see that the generative AI is able to convert that into a more professional looking illustration. So I am someone who likes to troll my friends a lot by editing photos. So a lot of times I would take photos of my friends and like make their head a little bit bigger or like, draw stuff on the face like a pair of glasses. So I know I'm gonna have a lot of fun with sketch to image because I'm gonna take pictures of my friends and like give them an earring, give them a hat, give them a beard or sunglasses, stuff like that. As for how practical that is in real life use, I don't know. But at the very least, it's fun to troll friends. And again, these are software features that leverages Google's generative AI abilities, but it's being kept to be a Samsung exclusive for now. On top of that, Samsung foldables also guarantee 7 years of software updates. So the Fold and Flip 6, they run on Android 14. That means you're going to get updates all the way up to Android 21. With a Chinese foldable, you're getting 3 years of updates if you're lucky. So for mainstream consumers, I think the Fold 6 and Flip 6 still make a lot of sense. But if you are a geek like me who really care about smartphone cameras, then yeah, the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro still has a better camera system than the Fold 6. And I think that's an area that Samsung should pursue maybe for next year, because I do think the Fold's camera system, it's getting a little bit long in the tooth. You should give it a periscope zoom. You should give it larger sensors. As for pricing, unfortunately, I don't have the Hong Kong pricing of the Fold and Flip 6 yet, but I do have US pricing. And Samsung is adding $100 to the base price of each phone. So the Flip 6 now starts at $1099 and the Fold 6 starts at $1899. So it's unfortunate that there's been a price hike, but I guess you are getting newer, better hardware. But of course, if you want the best value foldable phone, then you gotta go with Xiaomi or Vivo or Honor foldables. Moving on to the next product, so this one's going to be a little bit brief because I have very short time with it, the Galaxy Watch Ultra. So this is basically Samsung's answer to the Apple Watch Ultra. It's a Galaxy Watch with a much brighter screen, up to 3000 nits, longer battery life. It can last up to 4 days on a single charge if you're just using it more conservatively. If you're actually using it to track your workouts, then you can get 2 days of use on a single charge. The watch is also crafted out of titanium, so it's super sturdy and heavy duty. It's a little bit of a chunky boy, but still looks pretty good. I also like that the watch supports 2 types of gestures. So you can pinch with your fingers or just flick your wrist to launch apps or shortcut actions. And these are customizable. So you can set it so when you flick your wrist, the watch will launch an app of your choosing. The Galaxy Watch Ultra and the Galaxy Watch 7 are also the first smartwatches to run Android's Wear OS 5. So yeah, even before Google's own wearables, Samsung's the first to get Wear OS 5. So there's like definitely some type of exclusive partnership going on between Samsung and Google. So that's about it for this very brief hands-on on the new Samsung products. I will get review units of them very soon, so I will have a full review. So if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel. It will help me a lot. Thanks for watching.